Yep.
Hi guys, here we are. This is Başak, yoga teacher and therapist, ex-corporate warrior and an engineer.
Hello, here we are. This is Kate. I am a yoga therapist, and we are seekers and students of all things yoga. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, how are
We have a
you?
I'm great and we have a wonderful guest today. I'm so
Thank you.
excited. She is my roommate in our Bhakti Yoga pilgrimage in India. And I am so honored to present her. Susan, would you please turn on your camera?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Such an honor and pleasure to be here with you today.
Oh, same, same. Before we start, I'm going to read a little bio. This doesn't really fully explain who you are, but it's a very short one. Susan Hu is a yoga and meditation teacher, trainer, and a founder of a registered yoga school based in New York City. She is committed to making yoga accessible to everyone, regardless of societal labels. With two master's degrees and a diverse background, including being a former Miss Shanghai, she transitioned from a successful marketing career to become a skilled yoga and meditation teacher. Susan has been offering classes, workshops, teacher trainings, and retreats emphasizing nourishing, grounding, and uplifting practices with a focus on breathing and a relationship with the self. A devoted disciple of H. Radhanath Swami of Bhakti tradition, with her initiated name as Brinda Kumari Devi Dasi, Susan is dedicated to her spiritual journey and to promoting self care and sustainable living. Welcome again.
Thank you,
Welcome.
thank you, thank you for having me.
So
So
we should,
lovely. I mean, we are in the same course, year-long courses for the last year and this year continuing. So we see each other online, but we get to also share room together during our
hmm
pilgrimage in India. And that's where I was like, oh my God, she has so much to offer, and she's such a lovely, truly, genuinely good person. And I wanted you to just have everyone know you.
Oh, you are so sweet. It was such a special time that we had together with our teacher, Yogi Charu, and such a great group of, like you were saying, case seekers. Yeah, and you're just so kind. I don't know what to say.
so let's go right. I'm going to jump into some questions if you don't mind. I want to know
Absolutely.
what first sparked your interest in Bhakti yoga, and maybe you can explain Bhakti yoga to our listeners who may not know exactly what it is.
Totally. Yeah, honestly, the first time I came across Bhakti, I had no idea what it was. So I used to be one of those class pass people hopping around different yoga studios, taking different classes. And I have been practicing for a little while, but I never knew what yoga truly was. To me, it was just a physical thing. And then I found a small studio down in the Lower East Side. At that point, I didn't know what I was seeking, but that studio, they really shared the teaching of spirituality through their classes, and right away I was attracted. And then within a couple of months, I decided to join their teacher training where they were running together by the Bhakti Center, because the trainings and the studios at that point were co-managed by two different sisters. And the first time I came to the Bhakti Center, I had no idea how to even pronounce the word. I had to ask my partner, how do you pronounce this word? What is this place? But little did I know, from the first weekend I stepped into this place, which is very funny. It's the room that I'm in right now. Something just shifted within the same weekend. It was the first weekend of a 200-hour teacher training 10 years ago. And within the same weekend, I decided to change my lifestyle, the way that I'm eating. I went vegan, just hardcore. And then the same week, I met my spiritual guru, my teacher, His Holiness Rana Swami. And I don't know what happened, honestly. Something just started to shift. And I started practicing teaching at a Bhakti Center after graduation. I used to manage the studio here. I just never left. And so it's really hard for me to pinpoint when was the time that Bhakti really
Another
really
lifetime, for sure.
absolutely. Yeah. I think it's just at some point it's like, okay, it's time for you to come back. And I came back and the energy of the space, the blessings of all the teachers, somehow I think very early on I knew that was what I was supposed to be practicing.
Beautiful. You mentioned this immediate shift in your lifestyle. So
Mm.
I wonder, how has Bhakti changed the way that you see yourself and the world?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like it's changed everything, but also not so much. Because I think all of us, deep down, we are always connected to our spiritual qualities, to the things that we naturally are gravitated towards, being kind, being compassionate. Um, and all my life, I've always been that way. But also, the big shift is also throughout the entire life, I was always searching for what makes me happy. What am I supposed to be doing to change the world? And before finding Bhakti, finding yoga, and I don't mean just the physical exercise of yoga, but really the yoga philosophy, I had been doing so many different things. Like you mentioned in my bio, I was once Miss Shanghai. I used to go to different schools. I got different degrees thinking that's how I can change the world. And even after graduation, at some point I was like, I don't want to get another degree. I should probably start my life, get a job somewhere. And I kept changing jobs. I couldn't even hold a job steady because every time I think, okay, this is the thing that I can actually make a difference. And then 6 months, 3 months in, it's like, oh, I'm getting bored. This is not for me. It's not aligned. Move on to the next thing. And it wasn't until I found yoga that I was even able to hold my other side of the life steady for a while. Of course, these days I've renounced that part as well. Um, but really, yoga in a way helps me to recognize who I am, what lasts and what doesn't, what's important and what's not, so that I can keep cultivating the parts of me that's more important, that's more essential.
Wow, I know. It's
Amazing.
but were you so what is it about the bhakti in particular you think that uh made you able to focus, like
Mm.
what was it that do you know, or are you still sort of figuring that out?
Hmm. Yeah, I think really a big part of the Bhakti teaching is knowing what's your nature, what's your dharma, and how do we show up fully to do that, but without being attached to the outcome of that. And I think a big part of the first part of it is to know what's your duty, what's your nature. And in a way, naturally, I think I've always been gravitating towards the things that's connecting to the expression of yoga, to philosophy, to movement, to the spiritual teachings. But I also didn't know what that means.
Hmm.
Um, and to be able to start to understand, okay, I don't have to just not do anything, just renounce everything, go to the cave, be a yogi to be happy. I can live in the world, but if I can kind of shift my mindset, seeing things that I do as a way of practicing yoga, as a way of practicing bhakti, which is essentially a loving service to everything as a service to divinity, then that I can do even the most mundane things with a lot of joy as well.
I love that you
So,
said that, in terms of the bhakti,
mm,
service aspect is talked about a lot, but that
mm-hmm,
loving service, right? That
mm,
love, how does that, what does that inspire in you, hearing that loving service?
mm-hmm. Such a good question. Yeah, I think I've always been searching for love, just like everyone else, right? We search for love in our parents, in our friends, in our romantic relationships, from our animal friends. To me, loving love is more so. That's something actually I really learned from Bhakti. Before that, I was always looking for love, thinking if I'm surrounding myself with people, then I'm happy. And for a very long time, I did not feel comfortable being alone ever. It's like if I'm alone, I'm going to find some friends. I'm going to go through a party. I'm going to go somewhere so that I don't have to deal with what's internal inside of me. And then Bhakti really shifted the perspective of seeing love really as more than just a feeling, just more than just like a sentiment, but rather it's a choice. I can actively choose to act out of my love for someone to help them. Or sometimes, as our teachers always say, some people we love from afar, right? But rather than thinking it's just something, it comes and goes, it's something that I try to grasp onto, seeing it as something that helped me to decide how am I going to act today. I think I heard one of the teachers, they say everything that we do, it's either out of love or it's acting out, crying out for love. So that shift really helped me to see like, okay, we're searching for love, but rather than trying to grasp onto that fleeting feeling that's a fleeting love, let's try to act out of a deeper love, a love for divinity, love for every living entity, seeing who they are. And then that love becomes something that's more active, that I can actually become an instrument of.
I
And
love
that
that. That's so great because you are really putting a really very important point, I think, love being a choice and not, expectation or want or desire to come from somewhere else. You making that choice and being active in that, participating in that choice. That's so beautiful.
oh, thank you.
And
Yeah.
so how does your family react to this choice of yours, or friends who knew you sort of before Bhakti, and like how have you negotiated that in your
Yeah, I have been very, very fortunate. Both of my parents, I'm an only child. Both of my parents, they're super supportive. And to this day, I just visit them for 2 weeks and I realize how fortunate I have been in this life. My parents, they're very open-minded. My dad's from a very young age. And remind you, I grew up in Shanghai, a place where we're taught to be materialistic. Um, the entire country, they raised us to be atheists. But my parents, they were very open-minded. My dad, he went to a college where most of his friends are from different countries. So from a young age, he told me people can be from any nationality, any background. They can be good or they can be bad. Don't look at them just from their faces.
wow.
And I remember when I was very young, when I was probably 14, 15, I went to a summer camp in Hong Kong. It was framed as a leadership academy because back then I was very active as a student leader. And there were probably 10 or 9, 10 of us from Shanghai. We went to Hong Kong for that summer camp. Turned out it was a Christian camp. I did not know. But right away, I fell in love with their music. I love their music. I love their teachings. And when I got home, I told my parents, I was like, I think I'm going to be a Christian. And my dad was like, I think you just really like those people. Do some research and see if that's actually for you.
Yeah.
So that I'm sharing that because just it's an example of they don't just tell me don't do this, because
Yeah.
probably they also know if they did, I'm going to do the opposite way anyways. But at that point, eventually I decided, okay, Christianity might not be for me, but I had always been praying. So when I told them, they knew I was practicing yoga, they knew I was doing yoga teacher training. And I think they were a little bit surprised when I told them that I went vegan, because all my life, I always say I was a carnivore. I can
It's a
never
very
not.
Chinese culture
It
too,
is
right?
absolutely, it's a very much in the culture.
Mhm.
When I told them I'm going to stop eating meat at all, nothing from animal, they were probably very shocked, but they're also very understanding, very protective. So they supported me. When I go back home, even just last time, they cook vegan food for me. They take me out to the best vegan restaurants. And my mom, of course, once in a while, she's like, so do you want to have some fish? Do you need some protein?
Yes, they try, right?
They're still trying, but at the same time, they're also supportive.
Yeah.
So in that way, from my family, I didn't get a lot of resistance. It was very graceful, and yeah, just super grateful that I have parents that's so open-minded, that I am an only child, so they love me very unconditionally, even though my mom used to be so attached to me. I remember when I went to college, it was in Shanghai. It was just probably about an hour of car ride or subway away. My parents took me to college. They went home. I was having the best time, finally living on my own. The next day, my mom took a bus. She came to see me and brought a blanket. She's like, I think you're going to get cold tonight. It was September. And,
So
and
cute.
I was going to go home within a week. But that's just how much love she has for me. Then after college, when I decided I wanted to leave home, I went to Japan for my first grad school. They supported me. I went to Indiana for my second grad school. Eventually, I moved to New York and decided I don't want to come home. They supported me physically, financially, emotionally, on so many levels. And I
Wow.
didn't realize how much that love was until later on. I honestly, until I started to really study the yoga philosophy, and I recognized that's the kind of unconditional love. Probably the closest I can experience in this lifetime is from my parents, especially from my mom.
You chose a good family to come
I
into.
was very lucky. Yeah.
So, in your bhakti journey, what has
Mhm.
been the hardest part of letting go of the ego part, right?
Yeah, totally. I think it might not be, I probably didn't make a lot of conscious decisions of, okay, this is, I'm letting go of this, I'm letting go of that, but it's more of a gradual process. Over time, when I look back, I lost a lot of friends that I used to hang out with. Not, I think lost might be a strong word, but a lot of people that I used to spend a lot of time with,
Yeah.
especially when I first moved to New York, and just gradually, we are no longer spending that much time with.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Is
these
that
days,
partly because
mhm,
of you've changed how you spend your time too? Is that partly like you're not going out to clubs? I don't know if you did that, but you know what I
I
mean.
did. Yes,
Yes.
yeah. I think it's exactly that because the friends I used to spend a lot of time with, they're great people, but
Mhm.
the kind of activities that we used to do, it's just at some point it was no longer attractive to me. And I think initially I might have invited my friends trying to come to the other side. But then also I realized it's not my job to preach. It's everyone's journey. And over time, I just chose to hang out with friends like you guys, people who are more on the path.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a part of me still feel like I could maybe have tried harder, but it's also just a part of the process. And it's also funny because there are friends that I've had since high school or even earlier back home in Shanghai. I had not seen them for a very long time, but because of the disconnection, when I go home, I still see them. It's interesting shifts.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, people who know you when you are really young, they know
Mm-hmm.
you really your essence, right?
Mm,
It's just because this is before you had the accolades, before you had your achievements and your ideas about your personality. So there is
mm.
a much more innocent knowingness, and that's a really connecting thing, isn't it?
Totally. That's such a beautiful perspective. I never thought about it that way, but I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah. It's like before I became a young adult, it's like
Yeah.
like the innocence that you're saying.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, in Bhakti tradition, Bhakti journey, there's a ask for surrender in that,
Mm,
surrendering into the path, surrendering into the teachings. What did surrender mean to you before, and how is your
hmm.
understanding changed through your journey?
Totally. I don't think I understood what surrendering was before yoga. Yeah, I don't even think I really thought about it much before yoga because it's all about, what can I do? What can I achieve? What can I get? What am I experiencing? What about my friends, my family?
Me,
Um,
myself, and I, yeah.
exactly.
We all lived
Yeah.
in that journey, yes.
It's just like that unawareness almost like. But these days, surrendering really, I guess for me, it's really just knowing that I can do everything I should, and I should do everything I can to be my best self. But whatever comes out, it's not up to me. So surrendering that results to divinity, to God, and knowing whatever happens is always divinely arranged.
Yes, that kind of surrender, trust, right?
Absolutely.
So
Trust
how does
that.
that trust
Hmm.
affect your romantic relationships, right? I
Yes. You
wonder.
know about my personal romantic
You
relationship, but
don't need to reveal it, but I'm curious about the surrender aspect.
absolutely. It definitely has shifted a lot. So my partner Aaron and I, we've been together for a very long time. He knew me before he actually was the person who found a little studio that really changed my life. He told me once he was riding his bike around the neighborhood. We just moved back to New York. He's like, "Oh, I saw this little studio, looks really cute. You'll probably like it." And little did he know that little studio was not so little. It changed my life entirely. So initially there were a lot of push and pull. I was trying to bring him when I first taste the sweetness of the practice. I really tried to bring him in he really tried to also, try to take different classes, join groups, dive into the philosophy. And because of that, we had some disconnection. And for a while, we separated away from each other in order for us to evolve. And then eventually we were able to come back together by some divine arrangement. It was not planned, but I think we have a lot of past karma to burn off. So we're still together, and he supports me a lot. And it's such a beautiful example of what does it mean to serve someone. Because I think everyone, we have different love language. For him, it's really of an act of service. And for me, I didn't understand it for a very long time, because I think my love language is more so probably from words of affirmation, just because the way I was raised. And I used to feel like I didn't get any affirmation from him. And now looking back, even throughout the way, when I first got onto this journey, I wanted to take different trainings. I wanted to go to India. I wanted to do all those things. We didn't have a lot of money, and he would support me unconditionally, even though a part of me is like, are you going too deep? You probably shouldn't go too deep, but you should come back to reality a little bit. But his action was actually supporting.
That's so beautiful. This is like, what a great example of what we think love is, and how can we shift the perspective and open our eyes to somebody else's definition of love, and be able to see with their eyes. That's so great.
And also just respecting each other's path, I love that. And I think we Bashak, you can relate to that, and I can relate to it too, because we
Totally.
both have
Yes.
partners who are not on this particular path,
Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like initially probably we love them so much. We love the practice so much. It's just like, come with me, come with me. But at some point, that's surrendering, right? Knowing it's actually not my control.
Yeah, and they have their own paths, and that's great. That makes them happy, and we're happy.
Absolutely.
So I have another question. So do you have moments of doubt or do you feel like you're, there, or do you still question things and sometimes feel you're not living up to what you are hoping to live up to? Like, what are those difficult moments, and how do you get through those?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I wish there's no doubts. It's just, this is it. But I do know in my heart, Bhakti is my path. This is my practice. But there are definitely times where it gets challenging. And I think for me, because I'm a very social person and I need a connection, and even in the practice, we need our Sangha, right? Usually when I have doubts, it's always either the friction between people, or I start to see other people doing some things that I don't like. It's still that me, myself, and I, from my perspective, why are they doing that? Why are they not doing that? It might be that judgment. It might be the judgment of knowing deep down, maybe that's something I am lacking. That's usually when it gets a little bit challenging for me. And for me, what makes it still very much sustainable is seeing the teachers that I have, seeing how they live their life, regardless of what challenges they go through, regardless of how much externally they might be treated wrongly by others. They are committed to the practice. And seeing their actions, seeing their examples, it's the biggest inspiration for me to keep going, even on days that I don't feel like showing up.
I was going to ask you that, what is the role of a guru or mentor for you? And now that you're really fully explaining that, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you both know that teachers are the most important thing in our life in a way. Our spiritual teachers, they help us to stay on a path. They guide us towards the light, and they really help us. It's out of their compassion. They don't have to do that, but out of their compassion, they share their wisdom. They remove our ignorance. They tolerate us.
Yeah.
So
be a good example for us. Yes.
absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, forever grateful for all the incredible teachers.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific mantra, prayer, or a teaching that deeply affects you, influences you in bhakti?
That's a loaded question.
Why? Why is that
Because
loaded? Oh, I know why. Okay.
you know why? In the Bhakti tradition, we have this. My friend always say we have this one hit and we stick with it.
One hit wonder.
One hit wonder. Yes,
Yes.
that's so true.
Yeah, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In different day and age, we have different Maha Mantras, and in this day and age, is the Hare Krishna mantra with 3 words: Hare Krishna Radha. contains the energy of God, divinity himself. It's the divine feminine, divine masculine. When we're calling out to the mantra, we call out as a child, please engage me. Let me to be that channel of your love, of your vessel, so that I can be of service. And the mantra itself, it's a practice, it's a means, it's a goal. It's really, I have been practicing this mantra for a long time, but I have so far from perfecting it. And I pray that one day I can really be fully absorbing the mantra, and that will be the perfection of life.
Yeah, tell probably for our audiences, what is the daily practice of Bhakti Yoga?
There are different practice of yoga, of Bhakti yoga, but a mantra meditation is probably one of the most steady one for most of us on this journey. So you chant this mantra like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And each mantra, is a meditation. You meditate on the divine names of divinity, which is no different from the divine himself. And we use mala beads. I don't have it with me right now, but the mala beads is 108 beads. You use the beads, that's what we call japa meditation. You use the beads to help you focus, to count how many mantras you're chanting. Chant each mantra, you move the beads closer to you, closer to you, closer to you. This way, even though I'm still engaging my senses, I'm touching the beads, I'm hearing the sound, I'm using my voice, but rather than being externally distracted by other things, we are absorbing the senses in the mantra. And then hopefully we absorb the mind so much we start to taste the sweetness of the mantra. So this is one of the practice that we pretty much everyone practicing Bhakti is practicing every single day as a part of your medicine. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's such a great explanation for it. I love it. I'm so inspired always.
Oh, you're so sweet.
If somebody knew you before your Bhakti journey, and there are people like that, and they know you now, what do you think the most changed about you that they would know?
I love this question.
Probably a lot of things. Externally, I don't eat meat anymore. I don't drink alcohol. So a lot of the lifestyle shift that I don't stay up until 4 a.m. Instead, I get up at 4. But I think probably more, I'm a much calmer person compared to before.
Yeah.
Less reactive, less angry. Yeah.
It's amazing. That's exactly what I would say for myself too, because people who know me now, they think that I'm a quite calm person, and that could be farther than the truth when I was before. Much more fiery, yes. Would you say that?
Totally. Well, you still have the fire, but in a good way. We're transforming the fire
to action, to selfless action, hopefully serving. Yes, that's the goal.
Totally.
I think people even though I'm not, on the Bhakti path as much as you guys, but I'm sort of inching that way. But they would say to me that I'm happier. So what do you think about, or more joyous than I used to be? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, because Bhakti is to bring out that joy in the heart, right? Satchitananda, that's what yoga says, our true nature, you're eternal, you're full of wisdom, and you're also by nature blissful. And when we're able to use all the practice to release, the false ego, the what I like, what I don't like, all those things that's covering thinking I'm a certain thing, I'm a certain way, then we start to have an opportunity to access that joy, that happiness. And that's something that's a part of us, that's innate, so it cannot be taken away. And I would say your friends who seeing that happiness in you probably don't even recognize, but it's a much deeper happiness than if I was getting a new red shirt.
We are almost on time. We have one last question. Can you tell us, how do you serve today? Tell us where you are, how people can find you, how they can connect with you, share this beautiful light, wisdom of you.
Oh, you're so kind. My main service these days is to teach yoga. I teach yoga, meditation, yoga philosophy. I do yoga trainings, and I lead free community groups, mostly at a Bhakti Center, my spiritual home. I also teach at other studios. I teach at a studio downtown in Sui, in Soho called Sui. I teach in Williamsburg at Allo, and I work with different organizations sometimes. And yeah, and I'm on Instagram. I like working with different brands, especially brands that's helping to support wellness. And my Instagram is Susan Hu33 because my birthday is March 3rd, and 3 is my lucky number. It's also my Swardara number. All the good numbers is always been 3.
I'm a 3 too.
Yes.
She's a
I
tree
know,
too.
yeah.
I'm in between you. I should make a wish.
Yes.
So we will also include in our brief for all the links your Instagram address and all of that, and Bhakti Center's information, so people can reach out to you, hopefully.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know you have a very busy day.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is such a beautiful, beautiful time to connect. And thank you for letting me just talk about me, myself, and I.
You have
You
to.
rarely get
Every
a
once in
chance. I'm
while.
happy.
Me too. Me too. I want to
Thank
know
you for
more about
inspiring.
being Miss Shanghai one day.
Yes.
Maybe for another conversation.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you so
will
much.
say goodbye, but we will dance first.
Yes, a little music as
there's
we
a
dance our way
dance.
out. Yes, are you ready?
I guess so.
I think. Oh yeah, it's a gentle dance.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.